Hello guys, my name is Saul Tamariz. I will be using Python, machine learning, NLP to discover insightful data in the microbrewery industry. About the data set was provided by Kaggle, 17,823 observations, 15 common features of breweries of the US and abroad. Some of the column features include, but not limited to, ID, category, city, county, keys, latitude, longitude, Twitter, and website information. The data set is filled with a whole bunch of NAs, with a lot of missing values in latitude and longitude. There is a lot of misclassified information, such as address, province, and city. The majority of observations do not have a Twitter or website information provided. Defining a data science problem. In order to tackle a data science problem, we need to ask a question. My question was, what are people saying about craft beer in the top 6 cities? That was my question, and as you can see from the chart below, the top 6 cities are San Diego, Seattle, Denver, Portland, Austin, and Chicago. The plan of attack for this presentation and for my project as a whole was to ask a question: what are the top 6 cities and what are people talking about of craft beer in those top 6 cities? EDA and formulation, data cleaning and preparation, stream data and more preparation on that stream data, analytics, insights, and conclusions. I will be using geocode, Google Sheets, and Awesome Table to geocode latitude and longitude, k-means to eliminate outlier data, KNN to impute missing values, Twitter API to stream the data from Twitter. I would clean that Twitter data using functions and other methods. I would conduct analysis using Python and Tableau. And finally, I would draw insights and conclusions. EDA. Most observations in this data set were not used. 17,823 total observations or different breweries. Of those, only 7% were comprised of the top 6 cities in the United States. That was San Diego, Seattle, Portland, Denver, Chicago, Austin. Most observations did not have a Twitter account. That was also true for the top 6 cities. Only 25% of those top 6 cities or breweries in those top 6 cities contain a Twitter name. Initial cleaning and data preparation. I used Google Sheets and Awesome Table to geocode for missing latitude and longitude. As you can see, there were some latitude and longitude missing values. I also used a dictionary, which I prepared myself using key value pairs for the city and state to create a new column, which I called state, to provide for the messy, or to basically provide for the messy province category, which was already provided, which was pretty messy. It was mislabeled in it, and we needed to clean it. I removed unwanted columns such as hours, keys, and menus. I use k-means to eliminate outliers. After subsetting for the top 6 cities, I went ahead and plotted the top 6 cities in terms of latitude and longitude. I realized that I had 11 clusters. I quickly realized that there was 2 Portlands, and the one in Portland, Maine, and one in Portland, Oregon. And I went ahead and used k-means to basically eliminate these mislabeled points. I was left with a total of 1,269 observations to work with. I still had missing values in the zip code column, even though I used geocode to basically fill in for the missing latitude and longitude. There were some missing values for zip codes, so I used KNN imputation using latitude and longitude as my predictors to predict for zip code. I played around with several models, k equals 3, k equals 5, k equals 11. I found that k equals 3 was my best model to work with. I used the city block metric rather than the Euclidean or Manhattan distance metric. And I basically applied this model to my points, my missing value points, and imputed for missing values. Then I went to Twitter API documentation. I I realized that Tweetbee had a limit of 100 tweets per instance, um, and my goal was to collect 1,000 tweets per city. And keep in mind that most that there was some um, Twitter pages that did not return an output, and I used the list from the brewery list from the brewery data set to basically do my streaming. As you may note, tweets are pretty messy. I use several functions to clean out these tweets. As you can see, I was particularly interested in finding out what people were saying about their the type of beer that they were drinking. I realized that most people were using drinking A or drinking, and then the beer name. And I made up a function that would extract that string, that piece of string, and then return a value of no beer found if the word drinking was not there. I know I could get more complex, and there's more to do with this function, but to keep it simple, I did this and it worked, as you can see from the output below. Tweet data, analytics, and metadata. Retweets are pretty common in Twitter, and the way you can tell by this is either by plotting the length of the tweet in a time series graph. As you can see there in that graph, retweets are quite visible. So you could train a classifier or some sort of machine to detect some of these retweets and then find out what the trends are, extracted in word clouds or whatnot. Density curves are also pretty helpful for other purposes. As you may recall, the original data set contained a categories column. I went ahead and created a couple word clouds for those for each of those cities. As you can see, there's my output. There's some subtle differences between some of the cities. When are people tweeting about their craft beer? I went ahead and I filtered tweets from one particular week only to keep it or to remove the bias as possible. I went ahead and analyzed this information in Tableau, retrieving the information that I had retrieved from the Twitter API from Python to Tableau in a CSV file, and I noticed that Austin, their more popular day was Friday, from 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. People were mostly tweeting about it on Thursday and Saturday. Friday was pretty popular from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And interestingly enough, from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. On Wednesday, people were talking about their beer in Austin. What are people using to communicate about their craft beer? What top applications they're using? They are using Untappd, Android, Instagram, DB Beer Dashboard, and Twitter, of course. There's very little activity between 4 a.m. and 2 p.m. as expected. Same thing, people are not using Facebook as much to talk about their beers. Although in Denver, they are using Facebook a little more often from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. And the most popular application that they use to communicate about their beer is Untappd. But they are fairly quiet between 4 a.m. and 5 p.m. as you can tell from the top chart. Bubble graphs are pretty cool to look at. I use that to analyze the type of beers that people are tweeting about. Denver's pretty big in their IPAs. The Apocalypse IPA and the Haiti IPA are among their tops. Raspberry Sour Crush is one of their top beer as well. Austin loves their lagers, as you can tell, the Native Texas Pilsner and the Fancy Footwork Lager. Chicago is big on the IPA as well with the Goose IPA and something called the Ninja versus Unicorn IPA or Unicorn beer, which I'm not sure if it's an IPA or not, but it's a pretty cool name. Portland and San Diego share the Scarecrow Gone Rogue, and Seattle is big on the Hazy IPA, as you can tell by the name, Space Dust IPA, Cloud Bursting IPA, and an interesting beer that sounds pretty cool and I would like to try, the Superfuzz Blood Orange Pale. More word clouds from the tweets. Keep in mind that I removed the name of the breweries as I appended to the stop word list. And basically, Denver's talking a lot about their ciders, stem ciders. Chicago, Maplewood beer. Seattle about IPAs. Austin about barbecue and beer. San Diego, Pizza Porter beer. And Portland, hop IPA. What are people retweeting about in the top 6 cities? As you can tell right here from the chart that I created, I basically indexed it by city, and then I created 3 categories: top tweet, what I found most interesting, and about craft. Most of the top tweets were not about craft beer. The interesting tweets were about some interesting topics, such as the one in Denver, which talks about this one particular user says, thanks to the trade agreement like NAFTA, Crazy Mountain Brewery is able to export its beers to 10 different countries. So that's pretty interesting. And you could also read about the top or what people are saying about craft beer as well. So that was pretty cool. In conclusion and insights, the top 6 cities in terms of breweries are San Diego, Seattle, Denver, Portland, Chicago, and Austin in that order. Breweries in the top 6 were more likely to have a Twitter and website page than those that were not in the top 6 group. There is a lot of cleaning and preparation involved in an LP. People are using other applications such as Untappd and DB Beer dashboards to communicate about what they're drinking in terms of craft beer rather than the traditional Instagram, Facebook, social medias. The Hazy IPA is still king. However, other people are talking about ciders and other stuff. And finally, processing and understanding retweets can give insights to trends in the industry and other industries as well. That's my presentation. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.